Nice to see all of you here. My name is Tracy Barlock, and I serve as the Chief Advancement Officer here at Syracuse University. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this wonderful celebration honoring the Sala family. Before we begin today's program, I'd like to acknowledge with respect the Onondaga Nation, firekeepers of the Haudenosaunee, the indigenous people on whose ancestral land Syracuse University now stands. Despite the overcast skies and a little bit of rain, I feel a tremendous amount of warmth and sunshine here this morning as we formally dedicate this beautiful space in honor of an extraordinary family legacy. I want to offer a special welcome to the alumni, trustees, and community leaders who've joined us today, and heartfelt thanks to students, faculty, staff, and friends who are here to express deep appreciation to the Salas. The size of this crowd speaks volumes about the far-reaching impact all of you have had on our community. To begin our program, I have the great honor of now introducing the 12th Chancellor and President of Syracuse University, Kent Severud.
Thanks, Tracy. Good morning, everybody. This is a happy day for everybody at Syracuse University because of what we're doing today. This space we're dedicating honors a long legacy of service and hard work and commitment by our Vice President and Chief Facilities Officer, Pete Sala, and by his father, John Sala, former physical plant director, and their whole family, which supported them through this journey. More than 70 years of dedication to Syracuse University. I believe this event is long overdue, and it had to happen. And it really had to happen for three reasons. Two are things that have changed because of this family, and one is a thing that has stayed constant because of this family. And so the thing that has changed is that crumbling Archbold Stadium there, okay? A wonderful, iconic space with a glorious history, but became crumbling concrete. And it became, over this period, first the Carrier Dome, and now the JMA Dome that you see. The second thing that's changed so much is the campus all around us, which over the last 50 years has become among the most beautiful and functional in the United States for our students, our faculty, our staff, our community. And it's so appropriate then that we're dedicating the space that connects that campus to that dome. The third thing is what might not be as obvious to you all, but it's a thing that stayed the same. And that is that this university is part of this central New York community, and this community supports and believes itself to be part of this university to a degree that is remarkably envied by my peers at the great universities around us. And how come? Why is that true? Well, it's partly because the community is on this campus, and the reason they're on this campus is for games, but also for Monster Jam and Bruce Springsteen. And when they come on this campus, when they go in that dome, our community feels welcomed by an incredible staff of people who make them feel like they're part of this place. And in times of need, even more than that, this community knows that you can call someone. When the fire department needs help, you can call someone. When the hospitals need snow plowing, you know you can call someone. When somebody dies in the line of duty and you need a place for a funeral, you know you can call someone. When the high school band competitions need a place to go, they know they can call someone. Now, is there anyone in this tent who doesn't know who you call? Okay, who do you call, people? Pete Sala. So this is why we had to do this. And so many people made this happen. I need to violate Coach McPherson's rules and make this a longer speech by naming a bunch of people, so forgive me, but start with the generous donors, with the trustees. A lot of trustees stepped up to make this happen, including Christine Larson and Cliff Ensley, who you're going to hear from in a moment, including our board chair, Jeff Scruggs, and Joanne Alper, and Steve Valentine, and Steve Barnes, and Hal Fettner, and Neil Gold, and John Lally, who's done so much, Janine Lestrito, Pat Matino, Bob Myron, Mike Venatolo, all stepped up. And in this unusual case, another group stepped up, which is Pete's peers in the executive team of the university. I particularly thank Candace Campbell-Jackson, Lois Agnew, Mary Grace Almandrez, Tracy Barlock, Brian Conkle, Mary Opperman, and Ruth Chen, who helped. I also want you to know that so many of the partners of John and Pete over the decades stepped up to help this happen because of their trusting and loving relationships, really. And that includes the Hayner Hoyt Corporation, Peter Gognola Consulting Engineers, turf installer, Chenango Contracting, landscape architects, Klepper, Hahn, and Hyatt, who worked on this particular project. And then others who helped as donors, including David Campbell with Geiger Engineers, Burns Brothers Contractors, Environmental Protective Services, JPW Structural Contracting, SWBR, Orchard Earth and Pipe, Centrio, LaChase Construction, Joseph J. Lane Construction, and Jason Iorio with Century Heating and Cooling. And then, of course, an unbelievably dedicated grounds crew, dome operations staff, facilities crew, CPDC staff helped out, led in this case by their fearless leader who forbid me from recognizing him, but I want to recognize David Warren. So if we could clap for David. So obviously, this last 7 years was made possible not just by Pete and John, but by an incredible family that enabled them to work 1,000 hours a week on this place. And I just want to say they're here today. I thank Pete's wife, Lori, Pete's son, Jake, a dedicated member of the JMA Dome staff, Pete's brother, John, his wife, Debbie, and their sons, Brandon and Matt, Matt's partner, Sarah Smith, Pete's sister, Donna DeFulvio, and her husband, Jay, Donna's son, John Tassini, Pete's brother-in-law, Mark Harris, and his wife, Marie, and Pete's sister-in-law, Linda Cook, and her husband, John. Can we thank all the staff members? Okay, Pete, I am not going to mortify you any further. I trust the other speakers will do that. But there is one more thing I need to do, and it's personally important to me. The Chancellor of Syracuse University needs to set the record clear and straight about John Sala, and I'm going to do that now, if you'll forgive me. John came to this campus in 1963 to troubleshoot an issue with the football field in Archbold Stadium. He had a strong background in groundskeeping, included building the Pompey Hills Country Club in the 1950s. He started here as a landscape foreman. This is dear to my heart because I think they both know I worked as a groundskeeper basically to get to college. Those who worked with John over the years say he was the kind of leader that people wanted to follow. I believe he created the culture and started the culture that we see now in the Dome. He was knowledgeable, a great teacher, and a lot of fun to work with. By the early 70s, working very closely with Vice Chancellor Cliff Winters, who did a lot for this university, John had become superintendent, and then in the early 80s promoted to physical plant director. He oversaw the construction of so much of this campus: new residence halls, apartment buildings, academic buildings, laboratories, a gymnasium, a theater, a shopping mall, a hotel, a stadium, and our first student center. He played a central role in the design and the construction of this dome, the JMA Dome, which this month celebrates 45 years. John is one of the reasons the dome was built here in the heart of the campus. What an important decision that turned out to be, right? If you imagine this dome on the end of South Campus, or you imagine this dome down in the Kennedy Square area, this university would be a totally different university. So John, thank you for making that possible. It was almost viewed as impossible to land that thing in this place, this tight location at the time, and I'm so aware that impossible in so many ways: the money, the design, the access. It was John who determined, among other things, how to clear snow from the dome roof instead of by shovels, right? He hooked up a fire hose, found a way to run it up to the top of the dome, and used water to push the snow off the inflated roof. By the way, I'm very glad, as the person in charge of risk management for the university, among other things, that we're not doing that anymore. John put in very long hours. It didn't stop him from being a devoted dad to his family and to make his family part of Syracuse University, including 4 kids and 4 grandchildren who are graduates of this university. So among other things, I want to celebrate Pete, but I wonder if we can all particularly thank John Sala today. Okay, I've mortified the Salas enough. I'm going to step down, but just say thank you all for sticking with this university. Take care.
Thank you, Chancellor. We have three distinguished guests here this morning who want to offer and share their appreciation and offer some personal reflections on their relationship with you, John, and you, Pete. First is Trustee Christine Larson, class of 1984, who's worked closely with Pete as a member of the Facilities Committee on the Board of Trustees. She will be followed by Trustee Cliff Ensley, class of 69, who actually worked for you, John, as a student, and who knows more than a little bit about facilities planning around this place. And finally, we'll hear from Mike Veely, who recently retired as a Rhonda S. Falk Endowed Professor in the Department of Sports Management. Many of you know him as a beloved voice of the Dome, and I guarantee he has plenty of wonderful stories to share with us today. So Christine, why don't you begin for us, followed by Cliff and then Mike. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's my great honor to be here representing our Board of Trustees. And the Board of Trustees consider Pete our colleague. We have been through many things during my 14 years. It's not a complete list, but we had the strategic plan, the Einhorn Family Walk, the Shine Center, the Steam Station, the Barnes Center, the Daniello Building, the Housing Strategic Plan, and of course, the Dome rebuild and the Myron Victory Court. Through those things, we had epic debates, unanimous decisions, and really incredible execution, thanks to you, Pete. So I have a bit of a quote here from Hal, who couldn't be here. But Hal says, Pete has a unique ability to undertake so many different projects at the same time, and then be able to remain intimately knowledgeable of even the most minute details. I've always found that you can learn from someone by talking with the people they work with. Pete's team works very hard for him and always shows utmost respect. I suspect this is a result of Pete not sitting back and delegating, but is out on campus, in the JMA Stadium, or wherever he's needed alongside his team. But what really sets Pete apart from everyone else is the pride that he takes in all that he does. Just take a tour of the projects Pete's working on. You can see his smile, the pride of what he's accomplished on behalf of our university. Thank you from Hal. Now, I'm having a hard time with this. You know, it's more than just the trustees, right? It's really the whole community. And I have a little bit of inside information because my daughter was an assistant director of admissions, and she ran Own the Dome. And I would hear her stress and anxiety about bringing 650 kids overnight to the Dome. And she would always tell me, Pete's got it. It's calm. We're going to be fine. And she also sends her thanks. When I was a student, I was in the newly renovated Huntington Hall, which was remarkable to me. I was telling your dad, I was fresh from Iowa, had never seen a multi-story building built. And from my office on the 4th floor of Huntington Hall, I watched the Sheraton rise from the ground. Really one of my fondest memories, actually, being here. But subsequently, you have been such a good friend to the I-School. Right, the move to the Heinz Hall, it's made a huge difference in our reputation and important to me. So, in conclusion, you know, at commencement, it all comes together right here, right? The staff, the students, thousands of happy, happy families. It's the most wonderful day, really, of the year. It's a culmination of so much. And now we have a rebuilt dome. We have a grand entrance. Thank you, Bob Myron. And I'm proud to say the Sala Plaza will always serve as our front yard, welcoming everyone. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Christine. Good morning. It is both an honor and a privilege to be here today to help dedicate the Sala Family Plaza. Pete is so kind, generous, and giving. He always makes everyone around him feel important. Whenever he takes my wife, Sue, and me to show us a new facility or a project, he always introduces me to his team and they always ask me about my playing days at Syracuse. Pete has worked tirelessly improving and beautifying the Syracuse campus. But there's another important reason why the plaza will be known as the Sala Family Plaza. The apple does not fall far from the tree. When Pete got to SU in 1982, his father, John, had already been running the physical plant since '66 and continued doing so until 1992. I'm sure picked up some of his great traits from his father. I understand John got here in 1963 initially to improve the grass field in Old Archbold Stadium. A place very dear to my heart. I arrived at Syracuse in 1965 and played on that field for 4 years. It was the nicest, most beautiful field I ever played on, and probably the best in the country. So thank you, John, for that field. John would sometimes supervise us football players in the summer, putting up the bleacher seats over the track for the football season. One quick story. You know me, I always tell quick stories. In my junior year, 1967, our last football game of the season was against number 3 ranked UCLA and their Heisman Trophy winner, Gary Beeman, in the LA Coliseum. Well, we trounced them that day. The next year, they came back to Archbold 3-0 and again ranked number 3. Our coaches and players knew that they would be looking for revenge for the previous season's game. They were a faster and quicker team than we were. But it rained hard on Friday night before the game. Most of our team lived in Sadler Dorm at the time, and some of us walked over to the field the next morning before we took our bus out to Drumlin for our pregame meal. To our surprise, there were ducks and seagulls swimming on the field, and it was still raining, and the sprinklers were on full blast. When we got back from our meal, the rain had stopped, and we noticed the field was now covered with tarps so the water would not evaporate. The tarps were only taken off when the team went back to the stadium a few hours later to suit up. Our trainers had already replaced our short cleats with longer cleats, and needless to say, the faster and quicker Bruins spent the afternoon slipping and sliding around, and we beat them again. That's when I really understood the true meaning of a home field advantage. At the time, we thought it was Coach Ben, but it was really John Sala's crew that made that happen. So John, thank you and your boys for helping Ben and his boys carry the day. The father-son legacy of the Sala family over the past 70 years is truly amazing as you look around our campus. And I will always remember, and it will always be remembered here in the Sala Family Plaza. Our one university, Syracuse University, has been blessed with 2 extraordinary family legacies during my lifetime. The Simmons family legacy in La Crosse and the Sala family legacy for facilities and creating our world-class campus. You will always be in our hearts. Congratulations and thanks to the entire Sala family. And now I'd like to welcome Mike Vila to the podium.
Well, I certainly echo the sentiments of the previous speakers. Pete Sala has treated this place like it's his personal living room. You have that wow factor when you immediately walk onto this campus, and it's because of his vision, his personal attention to detail, his meticulous stewardship. And he's left an indelible mark on this campus and our students. 30 years ago this week, I joined the athletic department and the Carrier Dome as the assistant athletic director for marketing, promotions, and special events. That's when I got to know Pete, and we worked side by side for the past 30 years. I was charged with developing sort of a new culture, creating a total fan experience, because not a whole lot was happening at that time. And so I worked with Pete on a number of collaborative projects and fan innovations, understanding that nothing was going to come to fruition unless I had Pete's approval. Many ideas could have been met with skepticism and disdain, but Pete embraced the idea of innovation, creating contemporary fan experiences. Some of his suggestions raised an eyebrow, but no matter what the challenge was, Pete always made it happen, enhancing the game presentation and the entertainment value for our fans and our student athletes. Not everything went smoothly. Pete, I'm sure you'll remember the high-powered T-shirt launcher that I talked you into that could shoot shots up to the upper deck of the dome, until one night we discovered it could blow out some lights on the scoreboard when it wasn't aimed properly. That ended quickly. As a tournament manager for 4 NCAA regional basketball tournaments here, Pete and I worked meticulously through this massive 6 to 8 inch binder of rules and regulations that the NCAA had, but we had to adhere to that precisely or we would be fined. Somehow, Pete would work night and day with his crew and turn this place into a showcase so that in the decade of the 2000s, we were awarded 4 NCAA regional tournaments in 10 years, the most of any venue in the entire country. Why did that happen? Because of Pete Sala. I've also watched him transform this facility into the largest pro hockey attended match ever in North America. He's turned this place into monster truck shows and concerts and so on and so forth. He's an innovator. When the pandemic occurred, Pete tirelessly worked with university administrators and public health officials to transition the dome into a mass vaccination site to protect the faculty, students, and staff and keep our campus open and operating safely. As the founding director of sport management in 2005, we worked together with Pete to create a hands-on experiential learning component for our students. I went to him one day and said, how can we use the dome as a living learning laboratory? He fully embraced the concept and fostered it through a newly created graduate program in sport facility and event management. And this has resulted in dozens of our graduates managing facilities like Soldier Field in Chicago, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, and several major college venues. Thanks to Pete's mentorship, 4 of our alums are currently running Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. We often hear about a coaching tree of assistants who were mentored by a legendary coach. But Pete Sala has his own coaching tree of facility and event managers, and they're across the country. This year, we'll hold our 21st annual sport management charity auction in the backcourt of the Dome. To date, this student-run organization has raised $800,000 to benefit multiple nonprofits throughout our community. From day one, when I went to Pete, he tirelessly advocated, mentored, supported, and helped fine-tune this event, demonstrating his commitment to both the students and to philanthropy. The evolution of sport management from a small department to Falk College of Sport, the first of its kind in the nation, simply would not be possible today if it wasn't without Pete's engagement and commitment over the last 20 years to academic excellence. Pete Sala, steward of the university. Pete Sala, facilitator, innovator, collaborator, philanthropist. Pete Sala, champion of students, experiential learning, academic excellence. I express my heartfelt thanks to you personally and to your dad, John, for 7 decades of service to this university. Congratulations.
Thank you, Christine, Cliff, and Mike. Those heartfelt words truly capture the essence of what makes the Sala family so special to our Syracuse community. There are 2 permanent markers that will acknowledge the importance of the Sala name in this beautiful space. First is a commemorative plaque here to my left, to my left, to your right, which reads, let me just do it for those of you in the back, honoring the Sala family's more than 70 years of exemplary service to Syracuse University. Through selfless dedication and an unwavering commitment to excellence, John Sala, Director of Physical Plant, and his son Peter Sala, Vice President and Chief Facilities Officer, have transformed our campus. This plaza was made possible by the visionary leadership of Chancellor Severud and the generous support of our campus community, trustees, and area partners. This will be permanently displayed on the building over here, and of course, there is also our permanent formal plaza sign. And at this point, I'd like to ask John and Pete and whatever members of the family you'd like to join us over here underneath the tent to unveil the formal sign and take some pictures.
Can we get a photo? Yeah. All right, here. Here you go. 1, 2, 3. One more. One more. All right. Great. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Christine was a crier. I'm worse. Holy cow. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here today. This is an incredible honor for my family. I'd like to extend a special thanks to Chancellor Severud and Dr. Chen. This wouldn't be possible without your efforts. Unbelievable leader. I've never met anybody with the drive that this chancellor has. I got to tell you, he is so passionate about this university and cares so much about this university, and you see it in everything that he does, and it just continues every day. And sorry, you guys, it's incredible, man. Thank you for everything you've done for me and my family. It's just incredible. I'd also like to thank my wife and she stood beside me through every challenge, celebrated every success, and I truly wouldn't be standing here today without her and my son Jake. Thank you guys. They gave me 3 minutes to speak, but I've been here 44 years this month, and I've got 44 years of stories, so sit back. I'm just kidding. There's so many people that have been a great impact on my life, my career, including my father, John. He was an incredible work ethic. You didn't stay in bed past 6 o'clock at our house. You got dragged out and you were at that golf course. If you weren't, it wasn't good. And those are the days of where you could maybe use a belt or use something to, do things to your child when they weren't good. So again, and Tom Benzel Sr., who's here today, who gave me my first start here at the university, unbelievable leader. He is the one who got this dome started, working with Cliff Winters, some amazing people. Jake Crowdhamel, there's my son Jake. That guy was like a father to me. He was unbelievable, an incredible leader, great ambassador of this university, and did so many things with so little. Coach Mack, who was so close to my dad, was like a part of our family, and the leadership I saw from him was just something that was incredible. I traveled with Coach Pascaloni all 15 years, and that man was probably one of the best teachers I ever met in my life. Learned so much from him. He was always had a pencil and a pad, and he was always taking notes. It was incredible what that man was able to accomplish, one of the best coaches here, and I'm hoping someday we see his name in that dome. It's long overdue. Another dear leader here that we lost this year, Dennis Helsel, who had an incredible military career. He was an associate, senior athletic director. Man was an incredible leader. Great work ethic, worked with Michael and I on many things, and he was a great leader. And of course, my best friend, Rob Edson, who passed, they were just great people to work with. And Rob is, very, very special. But all these names mean a lot to some of the people who are here, but nothing means more to me than my staff that's here. And the chancellor brought up Dave Warren, who's an incredible leader, but there's many other people here. I don't want to call them out, but nobody on this campus has a better staff than me. And I thank you guys. I can't do it without you. You're the ones that get it all done. I didn't think I was going to make it through this, but I'm kind of glad that I did. All the construction projects that the chancellor and I have done through the years, and he tested me back in 2014. He called me. I hadn't met him yet. We were going to build the Ensley Center. And poor Jeremy Thurston, chancellor said, hold off a little bit on that project. I'm not sure about that. So I'm like, okay. I had all the steel ready to go up at Skytop. 3 months went by. And Jeremy Thurston's in this crowd, and he'll attest to it. The chancellor picked up the phone and called me. Again, never had met the man. Said, go ahead, Pete, get it started. But, oh, by the way, finish it by December 6th. We lost 3 months. I didn't realize he was testing me till later on in the summer when he called me to his house and told me what my career change was going to be. But we got it done. Thank you, Jeremy. On time, on budget, and it's a beautiful facility, and thank you, Cliff. But again, thousands of events here in the Dome with Tom. It's been an unbelievable ride here. We are the building in the Northeast, and the concerts that we've done and these improvements that we made would not have been done without this chancellor. And as John said in our press conference, nobody supports athletics like Chancellor Severud. Countless nights of shoveling this dome roof through those snowstorms, and I can't tell you, it was unbelievable. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and the endless support people gave us doing that was incredible of the team here at the Dome. Again, none of this would be possible without the people around me. I can't thank you enough. From the fall of 1981, when I got the phone call from my dad saying we can't get this stage built, we don't have enough staff here for the Rolling Stones, get your buddies from college. It was Thanksgiving break time. I brought about 20 guys into the Dome that were, friends. They probably were a little hungover because it was that time of year, and a couple of them are standing right here as I see their faces. We came in here, got that done, worked a concert, and Mr. Benzel said, could you stay for a couple hours? I need to talk to you. And that was the beginning of the end. I never left. I worked part-time as a college student until June of '82 when I took he offered me a full-time job, and the rest is history. So thank you all. I can't believe this crowd. It's very very humbling, and thank you.
I have no words that will end this better than what Pete just did, but let me just say thank you again for coming. I hope those of you who are nestled under this tent will stick around for a few minutes and congratulate the Sala family, enjoy each other's company. There's some refreshments in the back, and in about 10 minutes or so, the quad walk with the football team will come right through here, so it's perfect timing. Please stick around, cheer on the Orange today, and thank you again for this extraordinary morning. Thank you.